The extent of site work documentation by engineers depends on the industry, regulatory requirements, and company policies. Most engineers recommend removing panel board covers and trough covers to document wire sizes, current readings, and other relevant information. This provides a complete and accurate record of the electrical system, which can be valuable for troubleshooting, maintenance, and future design work. Some engineers argue that removing covers is not necessary if the information can be obtained from other sources, such as design documents or manufacturer's specifications. Opinions vary on whether engineers should remove covers on equipment to take current and voltage readings. Some argue that it is necessary to fully assess the equipment's performance and identify potential issues. Others believe that removing covers can void warranties or damage the equipment if not done properly. Engineers should be aware of the licensing requirements in the jurisdiction related to electrical work. In some areas, only licensed electricians are permitted to remove covers on electrical equipment or perform certain types of testing. Engineers who engage in such activities without proper licensing may face legal liability. The company's philosophy of documenting all aspects of site work is commendable. By doing so, a thorough and valuable record is provided that can benefit both you and your clients. It is important to balance the need for accurate documentation with safety considerations. Engineers should always prioritize their own safety and the safety of others when performing site inspections. If removing a cover poses any risk, such as exposure to live electrical components, it should not be done. In such cases, alternative methods of obtaining the necessary information should be explored. The extent of site work documentation by engineers is a matter of professional judgment and company policy. While some argue for minimal documentation, others believe that a thorough inspection is essential for accurate analysis and record keeping. Engineers should carefully consider the risks and benefits of removing covers and take appropriate safety precautions. When documenting site work, engineers often face the question of how far they should go in terms of inspecting electrical components and equipment. This often includes whether to remove panel board covers, trough covers, or equipment covers to access wiring, connections, and other internal parts. There are different viewpoints and policies on this, so it's important to consider the potential risks and benefits. Many engineers advocate for removing panel board covers and trough covers to thoroughly document wire sizes, current readings, and other pertinent information. This practice provides a detailed record of the electrical system, which is valuable for troubleshooting, maintenance, and future design modifications. A comprehensive record of the electrical system can help identify potential problems, ensure compliance with codes and standards, and facilitate efficient maintenance and repairs. However, some engineers argue that removing covers is not always necessary, especially if the required information can be obtained from alternative sources like design documents or manufacturer's specifications. In cases where the information is readily available elsewhere, removing covers might be considered an unnecessary risk. Regarding equipment inspections, opinions diverge on whether engineers should remove covers to take current and voltage readings. Some argue that it's essential to fully assess equipment performance and identify potential issues, as internal components and connections can provide valuable insights into the equipment's condition. Others believe that removing covers can void warranties or damage the equipment if not done properly, potentially leading to further complications. It is crucial for engineers to be aware of the licensing requirements in their jurisdiction regarding electrical work. In many areas, only licensed electricians are authorized to remove covers on electrical equipment or perform specific types of testing. Engineers who engage in such activities without the proper licensing may face legal liabilities. A company's policy of thoroughly documenting all aspects of site work is generally commendable, as it provides a valuable record that benefits both the company and its clients. However, it's equally important to balance the need for accurate documentation with safety considerations. Engineers must always prioritize their safety and the safety of others when performing site inspections. If removing a cover poses any risk, such as exposure to live electrical components, it should not be attempted. Alternative methods of obtaining the necessary information, such as using non-invasive testing equipment or consulting with a qualified electrician, should be explored in such cases. To ensure safety and accuracy, engineers should adhere to these guidelines. Firstly, assess the risks involved before removing any covers. Consider the potential for exposure to live electrical components, hazardous materials, or other safety hazards. Secondly, use appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE), such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. Thirdly, follow lockup/tagout procedures to de-energize equipment before removing covers. Fourthly, document all observations and measurements accurately. Include wire sizes, current readings, voltage readings, and any other relevant information. Fifthly, take photographs or videos to document the condition of the equipment and the electrical system. Sixthly, consult with a qualified electrician if you are unsure about any aspect of the inspection. Seventhly, adhere to all applicable codes and standards. Eighthly, maintain detailed records of all inspections and documentation. The extent of site work documentation by engineers is a matter of professional judgment and company policy. While some advocate for minimal documentation, others believe that a thorough inspection is essential for accurate analysis and record keeping. Engineers should carefully consider the risks and benefits of removing covers and take appropriate safety precautions. In the context of electrical engineering and site work documentation, it's vital to delve deeper into specific aspects that often arise during inspections and assessments. Here are some key considerations and practices to keep in mind. Firstly, regarding panel boards and troughs, engineers should be familiar with the National Electrical Code, or NEC, which provides guidelines for electrical installations. When inspecting panel boards, it's essential to identify the panel's voltage, ampacity, and interrupting rating. The NEC provides tables, such as Table 310.16, that specify the allowable ampacities of insulated conductors based on their size and insulation type. Engineers should verify that the wire sizes used in the panel board are appropriate for the circuit's ampacity and that the overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, are correctly sized to protect the conductors. Secondly, engineers should document any signs of overheating, corrosion, or physical damage to the panel board components. This includes inspecting the busbars, breakers, and wiring connections for loose connections, discoloration, or other abnormalities. Thermal imaging can be a valuable tool for detecting hotspots that may indicate loose connections or overloaded circuits. Thirdly, when inspecting troughs, engineers should verify that the trough is properly sized to accommodate the number and size of conductors it contains. The NEC specifies requirements for the full capacity of wireways, such as troughs, to ensure that conductors are not overcrowded, which can lead to overheating and insulation damage. Fourthly, engineers should also inspect the trough's grounding system to ensure that it is properly bonded to the building's grounding electrode system. A properly grounded trough provides a low impedance path for fault currents, which helps to protect equipment and personnel from electrical shock hazards. Fifthly, when it comes to equipment inspections, engineers should exercise caution when removing covers, as some equipment may contain live electrical components. Before removing any covers, it's essential to de-energize the equipment and verify that it is safe to work on. Sixthly, engineers should be familiar with the equipment's nameplate information, which typically includes the voltage, current, and power ratings. This information can be used to verify that the equipment is operating within its specified limits. Seventhly, engineers should also inspect the equipment's wiring connections, components, and controls for any signs of damage, wear, or corrosion. They should pay particular attention to the condition of the insulation on wires, as damaged insulation can create a shock hazard. Eighthly, when taking current and voltage readings, engineers should use calibrated instruments that are appropriate for the voltage and current levels being measured. They should also follow safe work practices, such as wearing appropriate personal protective equipment and avoiding contact with live electrical components. Ninthly, engineers should document all readings and observations accurately, and they should note any discrepancies or abnormalities. If they identify any potential problems, they should recommend appropriate corrective actions. Tenthly, engineers should always be mindful of the potential for arc flash hazards when working on or near electrical equipment. Arc flash is a dangerous phenomenon that can occur when a short circuit or other electrical fault creates an explosive release of energy. Engineers should be trained in arc flash safety and should wear appropriate arc flash protective clothing when working on or near energized equipment. 11thly, engineers should be familiar with the requirements of the National Electrical Safety Code, or NESC, which provides guidelines for the safe installation and maintenance of electrical power and communication systems. The NESC covers a wide range of topics, including clearances, grounding, and worker safety. 12thly, engineers should also be aware of any local codes or regulations that may apply to their work. These codes may impose additional requirements beyond those specified in the NEC or NESC. 13thly, engineers should maintain detailed records of all inspections and documentation. These records should include the date of the inspection, the location of the equipment, the observations made, the measurements taken, and any corrective actions recommended. 14thly, engineers should review the documentation periodically to identify any trends or patterns. This can help them to anticipate potential problems and to develop proactive maintenance strategies. 15thly, engineers should stay up to date on the latest developments in electrical engineering and safety. They should attend continuing education courses, read industry publications, and participate in professional organizations. By staying informed, engineers can ensure that they are providing their clients with the best possible service. In summary, engineers must exercise professional judgment and follow safety best practices when documenting site work. The extent of documentation should be determined by the specific circumstances of the project and the company's policies.